tungetaka tuseme hivi, tuna ushahidi wa kutosha. Na isiwe kwamba kuna mtu ambaye anafikiria atatutisha sisi. Sisi pia tumechaguliwa na wananchi na tunatenda kazi. Lakini isiwe ati kwamba unatuzungumzia kana kwamba wewe ndiye mkubwa wetu. La hasha, fanya kazi uliopewa kikatiba, lakini uifanye kwa njia inayostahili. Na hapa tungetaka kumuunga rais mkono, jinsi alivyosema kwamba ufisadi umepenya mpaka katika mizizi. Na tungetaka turudie tuseme kama baraza la magavana, tuko tayari kuketi na uongozi wa Senate, tuweze kujadiliana na kuzungumziana na kuelezana ukweli. Lakini haiwezi kuwa kwamba kikao chochote unachofika kule Senate basi inakuwa ni matusi, inakuwa ni changamoto hii, changamoto lile, matusi. Hata juzi kuna wengine waliambiwa wangewekwa jela. Tunashangaa, kwani jela zilijengewa kina nani? Na ni nani hapa mnaona ambaye hawezi enda jela na akatoka? Nataka kwanza niombe vyama ambavyo vinahusika, kwa maana kuna chama cha ODM, kuna chama cha UDA, kuna chama cha Wiper na wengine ambao walihusika katika kuunda ile kamati. Ingawaje tunazungumza juu ya maseneta 4 ambao wamekuwa ndio changamoto kubwa kabisa, tunaomba vyama vile wasituambie kwamba ukiangalia katika ODM, ukaangalia katika UDA, ukaangalia katika Wiper na kwingineko kwamba hakuna maseneta wengine ambao wanaweza chaguliwa katika zile kamati. Na tena hata tunapoangalia mpangilio mpya wa serikali, maana sasa tunapozungumzia mambo ya broad based na mengine, je, tunajiuliza jinsi kamati hivyo ilivyowekwa inastahili?
Mgalo muue, lakini haki ya kufanya nini? Mpe. Mahali tunafanya. Lakini kuna watu wazuri katika seneti hili. Kuna maseneta ambao wako na nidhamu. Wengine wanaokota ni pesa wanataka kufanyia kampeni ya ugavana. Kwa hivyo nataka tuelezane uzuri tu kwamba sisi hatuogopi mtu yoyote. Hii ni nchi ni yetu. Upuuzi ndio tutakataa wakati wowote. Na tuko tayari. Mimi nitakuwa katika hiyo seneti. Wakati nitaitwa nitakwenda kule. Na niko tayari kumwambia mtu moja kwa moja, wewe umechukua pesa na uache upuuzi wako. Niulize maswali ambayo yale yanahusika moja kwa moja. Mimi nimekwenda pale katika seneti, nimewaambia kwamba sheria lazima ifuatwe. Kama kuna wizi mimi Simba nimefanya, nishughulikiwe kisheria. Lakini haibu ndogo kwa sababu ya TikTok, mambo ya Facebook, amwezi kula pesa. Muhakikishe kwamba magavana wanatoa pesa, watu wanakula hapo. Tena mnarudi hapo kwa hiyo flow, mnageuka. Kama wewe ni mtu mngwana, kula unyamaza. Hakuna sababu ya wewe kuchukua pesa ya gavana ama ya serikali. Tena ndio mtu wa kwanza. Hii ndio sijituhitaji Kiswahili, unafiki wa hali ya juu. Kwa hivyo ndugu zetu maseneta, wacha tuambiane ukweli. Tuko tayari. Mimi kama Simba nimefanya makosa, nimeiba, niambie nimeiba. Lakini kama nyinyi hii biashara mnayo, masuala ambayo mnatuuliza ni masuala ambayo mengine yalifanyika katika zile serikali ambazo zimepita. Lakini tumechukua jukumu kwa sababu sisi ndio tuko ofisini. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niseme hivi, wakati wowote mimi niko tayari kama gavana na hawa wenzetu. Hatutakuja kwa hiyo seneti mpaka haya masuala yafanye nini? Yatekelezwe.
We are not running away from our fiduciary responsibility. We want to be accountable. But the issues we raised yesterday must be addressed by the leadership, because it's about extortion, intimidation, and political witch hunt. Some of those senators, I know they're aspiring to be governors, so they want to fundraise for their war chest. But for us, we are very clear. We have evidence, and we'll be ready to table before the leadership of the Senate, so that we have proper oversight, which is done with integrity and decorum.
We are saying we want to go there, but we want dignity. We want the Senate to go back to its original form, where it's meant to. We are supposed to have an interaction, not harassment, not humiliation, and not falsehoods and witch hunting. I think that's what we are saying. And I want Kenyans to look at the background of all these governors who are here. Some have been members of parliament, some have served in parastatals, some have served everywhere in Senate, some have, we were voted by very many Kenyans. So to try and demonize us and saying we are refusing to go for accountability is not right. And saying we are coming to film, of course to meet we had to be somewhere. Geographically we had to be somewhere in Kenya. We have not gone to Uganda or Tanzania. Yeah, we would have even been in Turkana. The Senate went to Turkana. Did we say they went there to be burned by the sun? It's not right. Let's be honest. Let us be free with ourselves. And I want to ask Kenyans to look at all these governors. They have served in various positions in this republic, including one of the highest. I was the Speaker of that Senate for 5 years. And we are saying we are not refusing to be accountable. That's why we have been appearing. But we are saying that there are issues that are taking that Senate down to the lowest level, which is very unfortunate. We are not mad people. You can look at all these governors. We are not mad just to come up and say this is happening in a particular committee. There is a reason why we are saying that. And if a governor does not appear before any committee, there are also penalties which are cheaper. I want to say here, which are cheaper. Yes, the penalty is 500,000 which you pay. So it ends up even being cheaper for not appearing. And in any case, we normally provide written answers from the counties where the auditors have raised issues.
Mr. Chairman, as a matter of fact, it was a pleasant surprise when you opened up this discussion yesterday. I thought I was the only one who was suffering. Kumbe, there are so many others who have been suffering in silence. So this is our position collectively as a council, and we are in this together. But to the public, let me reiterate one thing. We are not running away from our responsibility. Even in this period of stalemate, before the leadership will convene a meeting, we will be doing our responsibility justice by giving written responses. But we will not appear before them before the Speaker convenes a special meeting.
There is a tactic that the oversight committees are using to leverage on extortion, extortionist behaviors towards the governors. You go for a meeting that is supposed to start at 10 o'clock. First they call you early and they take you to the office and try to negotiate with you. Is there any pre-requirement that I have to go to the office of the chair of the committee first before I attend my meeting? Of course not. We are supposed to meet in the committee room, and the standing order number 209 of the Senate is very clear. 30 minutes after the commencement or the hour of commencement of the meeting, if the quorum is not achieved, then that meeting stands adjourned. Why is it that they expect governors to be there 3 hours, 4 hours, 7 hours after the time of commencement of the meeting? It just calls common sense. Even those who don't manage time really cannot have an error of 7 hours waiting to be seen. Why are the governors not being seen? It is because they never behave the way the senators wanted them to behave for the meetings to commence.
In a situation where people are doing oversight in good faith, when a governor is invited to the Senate, we have honored those invites. But sometimes there are situations where a governor is held up because of exigencies of duty. A governor is out of the country. A governor is appearing, is hosting, for example, the head of state. A governor has prior, commitments, and you write a request for a rescheduling of that meeting. The discussion in the Senate or in that committee is that Governor so-and-so has absconded. You know that you are running away. Why is this malice? If we want to engage, it's not that every time a governor will be available for all the meetings, not just at the Senate, but any other meetings. Even in court, sometimes somebody is not able to be available for court sessions, and the same is communicated to court, and another day is taken. But the kind of malice that we have seen from our colleagues in the Senate is just creating criminality where that does not exist.
In fact, funny enough, a majority of the senators that governors are complaining about are in ODM. And even that also is so sad, because somebody invoked Baba's name. Baba would have been a very sad man today to know that a majority of the senators being accused of harassing, extorting governors are actually no DM. So who is desecrating the constitution more? Me, who's raising the issue on behalf of governors, or those doing it? I also want to make it very clear that governors are not running away from accountability, and they're not running away from fiducial responsibility as chief executives of counties. We've been accused of suspending the constitution. No, we're not suspending our constitution. Yes, we respect Senate's role in oversight. All we're saying is it must be exercised responsibly. And it doesn't help to call out only the chair of council or whatever. Last night I received all manner of calls and threats. You know, I'm a pastoralist. Where I come from, we die of all manner of things, even including stray bullets. So it doesn't help to threaten me with jail and stuff like that. No. We have raised issues, we want the issues addressed. And those threats I got last night are a continuation of the intimidation and harassment that we spoke of. My position as chair is a position of trust of my colleagues. I will represent them at all costs. We have raised serious issues as a body that is constituted in law. A senator even said the Council of Governors is illegal. That senator has not read the Intergovernmental Relations Act and our intergovernmental laws on our intergovernmental relations architecture. The Senate, the summit and the Council of Governors are bodies created by law under the Intergovernmental Relations Act. They exist by virtue of law. We have raised our issues. We are not retracting. We have no apology. And we have said we want these things not swept under the carpet. We want to be listened to. We have a right to be listened to as an intergovernmental body. Because in those appearances, we are the clients that go there. And I know I'll be told, oh, one governor went, one governor... I know for CPIC, we said the issue we have is the frequency. We have not stopped any governor from going to CPIC. But what we said is, why can't a day be blocked for one governor to deal with all his municipality and bursaries, all manner of funds, investments issues? Why not? Why must the governor go there 5 times? When is he going to manage the county? We narrowed down our issues to one committee and certain members of that committee. Senate's own standing orders require that if certain people are mentioned, they step aside from that committee. We were decent enough not to mention names. And that's why today I have written to the Speaker of Senate as the head of Senate and also as chair of Senate's Powers and Privilege Committee, seeking an audience with the leadership of Senate. And whatever evidence governors have, governors will table to him and to his leadership. And we're saying something's got to change in that particular committee. We've been told also that the oversight meetings have a constitutional deadline and we're running away from the deadline. No. I've already written to the Speaker. Let him convene the meeting soon as possible to address the issues we have raised. And if our issues are raised, we'll continue to appear. So the ball is in the court of Senate.